What's up guys, I'm doing another Modern Warfare 2 video. In today's video we are going to be talking about Modern Warfare 2 Remastered versus Modern Warfare 2 becoming backwards compatible. So I've made videos about both these things recently and on my channel lately where we talk about Modern Warfare 2 becoming backwards compatible on the Xbox One, or we talk about Modern Warfare 2 Remastered. So in this video we're going to be talking about both. We're going to be talking about why one might be better than the other, and just all sorts of stuff. So first up, we're going to start out with the remaster and kind of talk about why the remaster would be good as opposed to backwards compatibility. So the nice thing about a game being remastered, say like the original Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare Remastered that came out in 2016, and that's obviously the biggest appealing thing for a lot of consumers is that it is available on this gen, PS4, Xbox One, PS4 Pro, Xbox One X, and they don't have to have their old consoles anymore. That's one thing that remasters do perfectly, and that's one thing that has really kind of helped this generation of consoles out, because we've had tons of remasters of games. We've had tons of them: BioShock, Halo, we've even had Call of Duty at this point. So many remasters of games on this generation, and so it brings those old games to this new generation, and so no, you don't have to have those old consoles anymore. But the argument can be also made for backwards compatibility, that hey, you don't need that old console anymore because you can still play that same game as before on your new console. So they both come out equal in that regard. But the next big thing that most consumers would notice and want about the remaster is better graphics. So if a game becomes backwards compatibility, it's the same code, it's the same game as whenever it came out. So in this case for Modern Warfare 2 in 2009, it's going to look the same as it did back in 2009 here in 2018. Whereas if it's remastered, it's going to be updated for 2018. And you can definitely see the difference between Modern Warfare Remastered and Call of Duty 4. The two just look astounding side by side, and Modern Warfare Remastered just looks so good. And so that's one thing, that the game just is overhauled and it looks way better, and it's more fitting for this generation with all these other games that we have that look great. You don't go back to this old game and you're like, man, this game actually is old, it hasn't aged very well or something like that, or man, this game really just it kind of reminds you that you're playing an old game, and you're like, oh yeah, this game came out in 2009. Whereas if it's remastered, you're just like, it's another game, or hey, this game looks great. So next we're going to be talking about a drawback to it being remastered compared to backwards compatibility. So one thing that backwards compatibility has over it being remastered is that since it's the original code and it's the same game as clear back in the day, you don't have all these changes. So there was a lot of controversial changes and things done to Modern Warfare Remastered that weren't in the original clear back in 2007, and that's like supply drops. The whole, they added in COD points into it, and they added in new guns, new camos, all these new things too. And a lot of people didn't like that because they just wanted to play the original Call of Duty 4 from back in the day. And that's one of the things that Raven was supposed to do, and that one of their goals was with the remaster. One of their 4 key points was staying true to the original. And they did that for the most part. They kept a lot of the same things. With the if you call in a streak after you die, it counts towards your next streak and stuff like that. Where they kept original things like that, and they tried to keep it as close as they could when the game first came out. But then later on, they started adding in new guns, supply drops and all this other stuff too. So people didn't like that. Whereas if the game is backwards compatible, it won't have that. So also we live in a day now where obviously Activision is going to put some sort of microtransaction system, supply drop system into every Call of Duty game now. So if they release Modern Warfare 2 Remastered, it's going to have supply drops in it. So just be warned. But if they make it backwards compatible, then you don't have to worry about that. So that's the trade-off there, is that it's the same game as before, so no changes. But then again, those changes could also be good, such as one-man army noob tubes. They could remove those, so that way you can't have one-man army noob tubes. Whereas on backwards compatibility, that's the way it's going to be. So another thing for backwards compatibility is that it's only for Xbox currently, that PlayStation doesn't have backwards compatibility. And then also, with PC, of course, you can go back and you can still play Modern Warfare 2, but remasters are awesome and are great for PC because, hey, now you get even higher quality games and textures and everything, and just the games look way better now too. So even PC players like it as well, even though they can still play the original. Xbox players like it too, because even though they can play the original, they can still have this remastered one too. And so if it is remastered, then PlayStation users get something. So that way PlayStation owners aren't kind of stiffed. Like, PlayStation owners have kind of been stiffed a little bit with the whole backwards compatibility program that Xbox has, where games like Black Ops 2, Call of Duty 4, Black Ops 1, World at War, all these Call of Duty games have become backwards compatible, and you can play them on your Xbox One. You don't need a 360 anymore. You can play all these old Xbox 360 games and even original Xbox games on your Xbox One. Whereas if it's remastered, it's going to come out on PS4. So PS4 users can actually get something, You don't have to go out and buy an Xbox now to take advantage of this and actually play this again. So, yeah. I think in total, my opinion on this is just, why not both? Why can't we have both? Why can't we have a remastered Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 and it also backwards compatible? That way it can hopefully, please both sides of the fence, both fans. So that way those people who want it remastered, and even PlayStation users, who can actually play it in general, they can play the remaster and have fun with that and have better graphics and stuff. But then those players that want to stay true to the original, don't want supply drops, don't want any of these changes and stuff, they can play the backwards compatible version. So it's a win-win for everybody. That way everybody gets to experience Modern Warfare 2 the way they want it, and I think that's just the best option too. Plus Activision would win because there's going to be more sales for the original, Modern Warfare 2, the 360 or the PS3 version, if, PlayStation enables a backwards compatibility. And they're also going to get sales from the remaster, and they might even get both. People like me, I might buy, Modern Warfare 2 digitally again or something like that. Buy it on the 360 or on the Xbox One, and then also buy the remaster. So, obviously Activision, neither option would be bad for them. They'd be making money either way. And if they did both, they would make even more money. So it's a win-win for everybody, win for Activision, and I think that's really what they should do. So tell me your guys' thoughts on this in the comments down below. What do you guys think? Modern Warfare 2 remastered versus Modern Warfare 2 backwards compatible. Tell me what you guys think in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.